inspiring interviews with today's top landlords. This is the Rental Income Podcast. And now, Dan Lane.
My guest on the podcast today has been following a really simple strategy to build out his rental portfolio. In the last 4 years, he's bought 4 rental properties. So on average, he's picking up a house every year. And I think that's a really obtainable goal. I think if you set a goal that in the next 12 months, you want to buy 1 rental property, whether it's your first one or adding to your portfolio, I bet you could do that. I mean, that's not really that crazy to pick up 1 rental property. And so he's just been working at it steadily. He's got a full-time job, and he's just picking up deals as he comes across them. So we're going to hear his story and hear how he started with nothing and got to 4 rentals. So let's take a real quick break. We'll thank our sponsors. We'll come right back, and we'll meet Alex Daredia from Bakersfield. Are you looking for actionable steps to create wealth and passive income? As a top-ranked business and investing podcast with over 800 5-star reviews, the Passive Real Estate Investing Show is packed with strategies and insight for putting money in your pocket. Marco Santarelli from Narada Real Estate Investments brings his expertise and knowledge on both passive and turnkey real estate investing, and he provides listeners with helpful tools and tips to create the wealth you've always wanted. Head over to iTunes or Google Play today and subscribe to Passive Real Estate Investing Podcast, or visit PassiveRealEstateInvesting.com. That's PassiveRealEstateInvesting.com. The first step in buying a rental property is to get pre-qualified, and I would suggest you work with a lender that specializes in working with investors, because the last thing you want to have happen is to get to closing and find out the money's not there and you can't close. The lender that I recommend is Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She's a nationwide lender, and she'll pre-qualify you for free if you mention Rental Income Podcast. Find out more today. Contact Chaley at ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com. NMLS 42056. Hey, Alex, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me on the podcast.
Oh,
I really appreciate it.
Sure.
So,
yeah, thanks for making the time. Awesome.
Yes,
so take me back. So you've been investing now for about 4 years. Let's start at the very beginning. Before you bought your first rental, like, what were you doing for your job?
So I was working in the banking industry, I have a degree in human resources from Cal State Bakersfield. And to be honest, I tried looking for a job in that field, never got anything. So I ended up in banking as a teller. Worked there for 3-4 years. Then I got my ladder up to a loan officer,
Okay.
And then I was like, maybe I should start investing myself.
And so when you decided that you wanted to buy a rental property, like, what did you do? Like, a lot of people kind of get stuck in the education phase where they're just consuming all the content they can. Like, what did you do, like, to make sure that you knew enough to get started without spending your whole life learning?
Well, to be honest, Dan, I just jumped the ship, and I was like, I'll figure it out as it comes. I think that's the best way to do it.
That's awesome.
Just jump the ship. As long as you have a positive cash flow, even if it's by $50, you're good.
Right. So someone that has maybe listened to every single episode of the Rental Income Podcast and read a bunch of books, I mean, do you feel that they're probably 10 steps ahead of you where you were when you were first getting started?
I don't know if they're 10 steps ahead of me or behind me. I mean, that's kind of hard to say, but I believe it's implementation. And, if you have a thought, and the way I look at real estate is you just can't go wrong with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, market might tank today, market might tank tomorrow, but it's going to come back up.
Right.
So if you look at it as a long-term investment, it's a plus. It's a gain.
You're right.
And as long as you have a positive cash flow, you're good to go. So I just ran with that theory, and I was like, if the market crashed tomorrow and the house that I bought today for $200 is worth $150, that's okay. I'm going to just hang on to it till I retire. And hopefully by then, I'm sure it'll be worth $300, maybe even $400,
Right. Totally. All right. So when you decided you were going to do this, you were going to buy a place, how did you start finding properties to look at?
How did I start finding properties?
Yeah, like, did you work with a realtor, or like, were you looking online? Like, how did you find deals?
Honestly speaking, I went through the newspaper.
Okay. Wow, that's
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know those little magazines they have like
Yeah.
outside the stores at house for sales and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the business at that time myself, so I would flip through those magazines, and I would call on a house, and then the realtor would tell me, oh, that house is already sold. The magazines are outdated. You know, that by the time it goes into publication, those houses are already sold. You know?
Yeah. Right.
And then come to find out, then he introduced me to like the MLS and so on and so forth, and he was sending me houses via email, and I would just calculate the mortgage, and I would see, hey, if I'm able to, the mortgage is this much, and I'm able to rent it out for this much, let's do it, and it has to be in a good location, you know.
So what kind of criteria were you looking for? Like, were you looking at like school districts, or that the house had to be a certain age? Like, what kind of criteria were you looking for?
I went with a house that was 5 years old when I bought it. You know,
okay.
I didn't want to buy like a really old house because I was strapped for cash and I did not have a lot of money. You know,
right.
And if I buy an older home and something breaks big time, then I'm negative. You know,
right.
And working at the bank, I saved some money, but just enough to put a down payment and pay for some closing cost.
Right.
You know,
right.
So that it was, and I had a reserve of like 3 months reserve for a mortgage payment just in case I couldn't find a tenant.
So you weren't looking for a rehab, like you really wanted a house that was pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, honest goal was long-term gain.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
You know, I bought a house in 2015, I believe, end of 14. And I said, look, if I keep this property for the next 15 years and the tenant pays it off for me, right? And the property appreciates, and the property is built in 2010. It could only require so much work.
Right,
like
right. That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Or maybe, I mean, even an AC is good for a good 10, 20 years, right? So it's with general maintenance. So I was like, I want to keep the maintenance as low as possible. So that's why I went with like a newer home.
Okay.
And a good neighborhood, single family residence, basically.
When you got the house under contract, did you do a home inspection?
Yeah, most definitely.
Did anything come up, or?
No, it was normal wear and tear.
Okay.
Just lived in, loose toilet, water leaking here and there, underneath the sink, stuff like that, but nothing to kill the
major
deal over, you know?
Now, a lot of people for their first deal will do a house hack. So like maybe they'll live in one of the rooms and rent the other rooms out. You didn't do that. Like, you decided that you were living with your parents and you wanted to keep doing that, and that this was going to be an investment. Did you consider doing a house hack, or did that not interest you?
No, man, that's kind of scary, to be honest. Sharing a room with any of your personal belongings are there, and people, you just don't know how people are nowadays, right? So
right.
I wasn't a big fan of that.
Okay.
But yeah, I actually, bought the house, and then for myself to move in, and then I was thinking, I do want to start a rental. Why don't I just continue living it with my parents and turn this into a rental? Make this the first rental.
Right. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
So went that route.
So then once you closed on it, how did you advertise to find tenants?
I advertised. I went to Home Depot. I bought a $30 for rent sign, and I put it in the yard, and I went on Zillow.
I love it. It's like you're really doing timeless things, like looking for the house in the magazines and putting signs up front. I mean, those are things that people were probably doing 100 years ago It works. It still works, right?
It works. And the reason behind it is, so the good thing is what I've noticed I own 3 or 4 right now, right? And what I've noticed is the calls that come from the yard sign are much more qualified rental applications versus online.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I guess there's, it's so much easier to do it online where someone is driving around and it's traditional, old school, mature. And they're like, let me call. And, so I rented out all my properties with the yard sign. I mean, I went other avenues because I don't want to miss out, right? Just in case I don't get the yard sign call.
Yeah.
But that's been very workful for me.
That is interesting. I mean, you think if the people are in the neighborhood to see the sign, they have maybe some friends in the neighborhood, or they maybe have some connections. So that is interesting that's bringing you a better tenant.
I mean, And the other thing I've done is like when I bought that first house, I went 5 5 10. I went 5 doors on each side and across, and I told them, hey, I just bought this house. I'm gonna be renting it out. Here's my business card. If you see anything like anybody breaking in or anybody wandering around, give me a call, and keep an eye on your new neighbors, your tenants, right? And if they're not behaving, give me a call. I'm gonna come out and make sure everything is good. And I become friends with the neighbor also.
That's a great way to keep eyes on the house. I love that idea. I love that idea. It's like the neighbors don't have to be your enemy. That you want to know if something's not right at the house.
And they appreciate that, and they tell you like, you know what? I'm so glad you came by and you told us, and we appreciate that. So
yeah. So how has it worked out? So it's been 4 years now. How has that rental performed for you?
Solid,
awesome.
Super solid. I bought it for $190. Now I owe about 140, 150.
Mm-hmm.
So it's paid down itself, and I've only changed 2 tenants in there.
That's great. So people stay for like maybe 2 years on average, or have you?
Yeah, long term. The first one stayed for 3 years, I believe. And I just put one in there like a year and a half ago.
And, repairs is something that a lot of newer investors are afraid that things are going to break. Like, have you had much repair?
When I bought the house, to be honest, my realtor bought me a home warranty for the house. It was like $500, right? And this one being a new construction, to be honest, there was a pipe that broke inside the walls.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it was water staining on the wall, but the tenants couldn't figure it out, so they called me. And I went over, and man, it was water. Like the walls had like water stains on it. So I called the home warranty. It was like a $3,000 job. I paid like a $50 deductible, and they came out and fixed it. Right?
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. So I really recommend getting a home warranty on your homes. I mean, I bought a new one thinking I'm not gonna have any big problems, and look what happened.
Right.
So,
totally.
So there's no way of really telling. So I equip all my rentals with like a $500 home warranty every year, because if an AC goes out, I mean, they're tenants. They're not going to keep their house like it's their own. They're just there to live and do their day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
So if something goes out, I just call the home warranty and they take care of it. And if it's something minor, then I just get my guys out there to do it.
Is there a home warranty company that you like better than other ones?
Yeah, I've been using a First America home warranty.
Okay.
And she's solid. She's a sales rep now. So since I'm in the business now, I know her personally. But when I didn't, I used them a couple of times. Just placed a call and they send out a repairman, and I would cut them a check and do the job, and they'd be on their way.
Awesome. So now, after you got that first property up and running and you felt good about it, how long did you wait to buy your second property?
A year.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bought my first property, and then I met my wife. And then she had no clue about real estate. She does not do anything real estate. And I told her, I'm thinking about buying another house, and she thought I was crazy. She's like, I don't like this idea of tenants, this and that. But I convinced her, and then we bought a second house, and we turned that one into a rental.
Okay. And what was this? Were you kind of following the same thing where you were looking for a newer property?
Yeah. So this one was a newer property, also single family home. This one had an HOA of like $30 a month.
Okay.
No, very small front yard, no backyard. It's like a townhouse with a house on its own lot. So maintenance was really low, like no gardener basically.
Right.
And it's a 2-story home.
And did you find it through the same methods?
Yeah, this one I reached out to the realtor that helped me with the first house,
okay.
And he found it for me because I was still working in banking at that time also when I went to look for the second house, and he helped me out, so I went with that.
And how has that one worked out for you?
First tenant, I got a call off of Zillow. And he said, "Hey man, we're moving from Colorado to Bakersfield. We really like this. It was a young couple. We love how it does not have a front yard and a backyard, which was I was kind of very like scared of, because where I live, backyard and front yard is very big.
Right.
Like everybody wants it, and they're like, oh, we just love it. We don't want to deal with no yard maintenance, and just we would love to rent the house. So they came from Colorado, ran the application, and gave them the house, and took the key, or took the deposit.
I think that's a really important thing to point out, that I think a lot of people, when they're looking for a rental, they're looking for a property that they would want to live in, but everyone's looking for different things. So like for him, not having a backyard, that was a bonus. Like they don't have to worry about taking care of the grass. And so I think that's just something to point out, that if you're looking for a rental property, to consider more than you would consider for a house you're going to live in.
Right. And the thing is, at that time when I bought that house, I couldn't find anything that would fit the budget, but I was gung-ho about buying a rental property at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, I got to get one,
Right.
And that house fit all my criteria, right?
Uh-huh.
It was newer, it was under 200, and it was just solid, like tile flooring and like tile countertop. I didn't really need to do anything, I was ready to move in for the tenants.
That's also awesome, and something to point out, because a lot of people think that when you buy a rental, you've got to do a full rehab on it, but you've been really successful without having to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, all the houses that except for the last one, I had to do a complete rehab on it, but I got that one extremely, extremely cheap, like super cheap.
Right.
And
so, the other bonus to having a house that's ready to go is that you can put that on the market the day you close on it. So you're not having day. Yeah, right. So you're not having to wait a while. Where that property that you rehabbed, how long did it take from the time you closed on it until you got your first rent check?
It took me a month. I bought it in November, like 20th, and by December 27th, right after Christmas, I had to rent it out. Yeah.
All right. So let's jump ahead here to number 3. So you bought your third property. For that property, was it the same kind of formula where you're looking for a newer house that's ready to go?
So on that one, I got a little bold, and what happened was, by that time I was in real estate. So I sell real estate in Kern County now,
Uh-huh.
And I mostly chase listings, right? I work with some buyers, but I go after listings a lot.
Right.
And I was just traditional calling out the entire neighborhood, and this lady answers. She says, "Hey, I lived here since 1954, and I wanna move to out of state, and I wanna sell my house." Mm-hmm. Okay. And I was like, so I set the appointment, the whole 9 yards. I go over, and she's like, I want like 200,000 or 180 is what I want for the house,
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, look, I mean, you don't have a heater on your home. It's 1954. You haven't replaced your carpet. You have metal cabinets.
Right.
Your roof is falling apart. And she's like, I'm like, you got to give me a better number than that,
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? I don't want to do any work. Just pay me an amount and I'll be on my way out. So I paid her what she wanted. And then I bought it and we went from there.
So you went over for a listing and it ended up being a property you bought.
Yeah.
That's great.
I just gave her an offer, right? That, hey, how does this sound? And she says, I don't have to do anything. I was like, you don't have to do anything. I can go to escrow right now. We can open escrow, give you a check tomorrow, and we can close and you can be on your way out. And she's like, what about all my stuff? I was like, take whatever you want, leave whatever you don't want, Right.
Now, did you feel the confidence to do that project because at this point you were making more money at your job? And it seems like for the first 2 properties, you were really tight, like getting into these properties. But by the third property, like did you feel comfortable doing that because you had extra money?
I had extra money, so I was able to make that offer. But I was scared, man. I was super nervous because I was pouring all my, I was going like $1,000 in my bank account status.
Okay.
So I was pretty scared, after the rehab and everything. So that one was a complete rehab, like new AC, new heat, wall unit, everything, new plumbing, new toilets, new roof. Basically, cost me $30,000 to bring that
property. Did it really? Wow. One. Awesome. I love it. So you're hooked now. Like you just want to keep buying more rentals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Dan, the goal is, buy one a year. So
I love it. That's great. I mean, you're off to a great start building out your portfolio. I'm really excited to see what you
yeah.
can accomplish. So now,
No,
tell me about your agent business. So you are a full-time realtor today. If somebody is looking to invest in the Bakersfield market, can you help
yeah.
them?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, Bakersfield is such a great community or city where rental properties get rented out in like a day or 2 days. We're having an Amazon fulfillment center coming to town. We got a Walmart distribution center. One of the big makeup companies moving to town also.
A lot of people will say that it's impossible to invest in California. And obviously, I mean, you've been doing it. So is that not true?
Well, look, so Bakersfield is right in the middle of the state, If you go Sacramento and north, it's impossible. If you go to LA, it's that people do it, but it's almost impossible.
Right.
But Bakersfield is the most affordable city in the entire state. Average a good sized brand new home, $225,000-$30,000.
Yeah, that sounds like a great market. That really is awesome. Well, Alex,
Yeah.
if somebody wants to reach out to you and talk to you more about investing in Bakersfield, what's the best way for someone to find you and to learn more about you?
So best way is Instagram, first name, last name. Look up my profile, send me a message, or you're more than welcome to give me a call. My number is 661-903-3183.
If you missed that or you want to look it up later on, I've got a link to Alex's information on my website. You can find it at rentalincomepodcast.com/episode 209. Before you start shopping for your next rental property, you want to make sure you get pre-qualified, and the lender that I recommend is Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She can help you whether you're looking for one of your first 10 rental properties. She'll get you the best rates and terms on those loans, or if you've got more than 10, she can help you finance an unlimited number of rental properties. You can find out more and get started today at ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com. And if you mention Rental Income Podcast, she will waive all of the pre-qualification fees. NMLS 42056. If you're looking to save some money the next time you need to rent a car, check out autoslash.com. This is a really neat website. The way it works is you go on to autoslash.com, you make your car reservation, and then Autoslash gets to work. It searches the internet and finds every available discount code and applies that to your reservation, whether you're a member of Costco, AAA, USAA, any other coupon codes that might be out there. Autoslash is going to find them and give you the best available rate for your car reservation. After you've made your reservation, Autoslash continues to work, continues to look for new discounts, any available coupon codes that may come up, or any kind of price decreases. And if it finds a cheaper rate for you, even if it's at a different company, it'll let you know you can cancel your first reservation with no penalty and rebook at the new lower rate. It's a really great website. There's no catch. There's no cost. I would definitely recommend you check it out. You can try it out at autoslash.com. That's AUTOSLASH, autoslash.com. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast app you're listening on, and you'll get a new interview delivered to you automatically every single Tuesday. My name is Dan Lane, and this has been the Rental Income Podcast.